Hello and welcome to the Daily Royal. My name is Shelby and I have been a royal watcher for the past 10 years. In this podcast, I talk about the daily events of 7 of the European monarchies. So I talk about Belgium, the UK, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and Sweden. I upload Monday through Friday with occasional bonus episodes here and there. Today we are talking about all of the events from Thursday, September 16th of 2021. It was a bit of a kind of a day, kind of like yesterday, where there was a little bit of events going on, but like one event in each country, so not a ton to talk about, which is fine. And hey, we have made it through another week of consecutive recordings, which may not seem like a big deal to you guys because I was really consistent most of the year. To me, every week so far has felt like a struggle since coming back in September. I know we've made it through like 2 weeks without a lot of incident, and I'm really happy with that. But I am still just hoping next week is a little bit stronger. I've worked on some like organizational things, and I feel in a better place to be able to do it all. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it is the final episode of the week, so we are going to jump right in, and we are going to start today with the Belgian royal family. Belgium today was a country that had more than one event, but like one big event and then like some side events. So this morning, King Philippe met with the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. So this is kind of like, he serves as like a vice president of the European Union. He also is kind of like the foreign minister for the European Union. And he also used to be Spain's foreign minister. So lots of connections there. And so he, being based in the EU headquarters, which is in Brussels, makes sense for him to meet with King Philippe. So that was the first event, and then in the afternoon, King Philippe hosted a reception for 8 of the 50 BE heroes. So BE is short for Belgium. And this is a thing that I think just started last year, where nominations were put in to the public, and they could nominate a Belgian who served and, served their country in a heroic way, especially during the pandemic, which is, of course, where we were last year when this started. And then they were invited. They were last year one of the few selected invitees of the National Day Parade. And this year, very similarly, they were invited to the National Day Parade, which still did not have a massive audience this year. And then a few of them were granted this reception with the king. So that happened today. And so basically how it is like each BE hero and their companion, their +1, are stationed at a table, and King Philippe makes his way around to each of these tables to hear the stories and talk to the winners, just about, their courageous act. I was really not disappointed, but last year they highlighted some of the winners. This year, to my knowledge, they didn't do that. The things that I have looked at did not do that, which was kind of sad. But again, I assume it is primarily COVID specific, and now more so in the recovery process from the COVID situations that the situations that COVID has left us with. So that was the Belgian royal family's events for today. Nothing from Queen Mathilde. And so I'm not entirely sure what they have planned over the next 3 days. If they have something, we will of course talk about it when I record on Monday. So that is what was going on today. And now we are going to move over to the British royal family. The United Kingdom. in the UK today, there was one event, at least to my knowledge, that was publicized on social media. So today, the Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall visited the island. Nope, not the island. The Isle of Skye, I think, which is in Scotland still. So they are still up in Scotland. And so during their visit, they spoke to locals as well as business owners about the pandemic, the effects of the pandemic, and they were also able to go to, I think, the harbor on the island, and have a music performance. I think is what the social media post said. I don't know. It looks fun. I'm loving all of these Scotland events. Of course, we didn't get much of these we didn't get any, to my knowledge, last year until maybe later in the year. And so this has been really fun to see, and the scenery is, of course, beautiful and all of that good stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I'm not sure. I know tomorrow the Duke of Cambridge has something with the Earthshot Prize. But other than that, I don't know what the weekend holds. I wish they would pre-announce things again. I'm not sure if they ever did, but they certainly haven't been lately. So that is what was going on in the UK. Not a whole ton to talk about today. No drama or anything like that. So, that's lovely. And so with that, we are going to go ahead and move on to the Netherlands, as there is nothing going on today in Denmark, although there are some events over the weekend. So we'll talk about those, of course, Monday. But for now, let's move over to the Dutch royal family. The Netherlands. In the Netherlands today, Queen Máxima is still at work, which is, lovely. So she had 2 engagements today. King Willem Alexander had nothing going on today, at least to my complete knowledge. Let me go ahead and confirm that, because sometimes when this happens, there are things happening behind the scenes. But let me just go ahead and check. Yeah, no, there have not been. Okay, so with that, Queen Máxima today opened the new national supercomputer called Snellius, which is basically a response to a need for more calculation power as well as data storage. So she opened that, and then also later on in the day, she visited the organization, the Friends Services Foundation, which won an Apple of Orange award earlier this year. I think that was at the beginning of summer, late May, early June maybe, were the awards for that ceremony. And so she will go on working visits to the organizations that have won in the past and currently, to learn more about their operations and programs that they offer in a more hands-on way. So that is what was going on today. I did mention, I meant to mention yesterday, and I did, but I wasn't recording because I had a operator error snafu thing. Queen Máxima and King Willem Alexander are off. They do not have any events tomorrow. So this is pretty normal for the Dutch royal family to have a 3-day weekend. I do know they're coming back possibly on Sunday though. There is an event scheduled for the 19th, which is Sunday. So that'll be a King Willem Alexander event. And then next week is Budget Day on Tuesday. So that's kind of like the opening of Parliament. And of course, we'll talk more about it in the episode I record on Tuesday. But for now, that is what was going on in the Netherlands. You guys, I feel like I'm going really fast lately. I just feel like my recording is going faster than it usually has done. Part of that is, one, I am trying to refrain from talking too much about non-royal related things, and 2, I feel more efficient because of like my new schedule. So I feel like I have to be a little bit more efficient in what I talk about and report on. And this was always the plan, that coming back from summer, things would be a little bit more streamlined, and I would talk maybe about like one event in each family that was like a big deal. That hasn't had to happen yet, just because of where we're at in terms of busy, but right now that is where we are at, and that's what I want to do. If things are like, there are 5 events or something, I just want to talk about like 1 or 2 of those and highlight them versus rapid fire the 5. And so just as I learn more and get more routined, I don't expect the time to change that much, but like I do expect the research to become deeper, ingrained in each event that I talk about. So that is coming soon, maybe. This plan is really dependent on going back to normal in like a COVID independent world, like where we're not struggling through a global pandemic. Like we've just kind of learned to live with COVID, which I constantly hope that we'll do. So this is me preparing for that inevitability where there are lots of things happening in each country each day, is the goal. So with that, we don't have a huge update in Norway today, but I do just want to say, like, Crown Prince Haakon today met with Norway's foreign minister. So this is a weekly, every other week event for the Norwegian royal family. Usually it includes King Harald and Queen Sonja, as well as Crown Prince Haakon, but today it is just Haakon. So just throwing that event out there. And so now we are going to move over to the Spanish royal family. Spain. In Spain today, there were technically 2 events, but they were all kind of around the same thing. So this morning, King Felipe held an in-person an audience with the President of Colombia, who is on an official visit to Madrid. So I don't think he is still I don't think he was in Spain for very long. I know he's doing a state visit somewhere. I don't think it's to Spain because, like, this was not state visit welcome. So I think this is just a, like, stop along the way. Like, he's in Europe, like, oh, let's stop in Spain, I think. I don't believe he is on a official state visit because this was not a state visit welcome. Those are different. So anyway, they met first, as is pretty customary for anybody on a trip, ahead of state on a trip to Spain. They will meet with the head of state in the country they're coming into. Sorry, I just got really distracted because the Casa Real website started playing the Spanish national anthem while I was looking at something. So then after the meeting with the president and King Felipe and Queen Letizia hosted President Duchess for a lunch, as well as his wife, the First Lady of Colombia. So they hosted an official, like, welcome lunch that we have now seen. It feels like a lot in the past couple of months from Spain. Like, it just feels like they have done this same thing many times in the past 2 months, which they've only done it 3 times, I think. But that's more than anyone else has done. And so it's just like a very routine structure now at this point. They welcome the incoming head of state, the incoming person, and in this case also his wife. And then they have a receiving line, and then there's a lunch where both King Felipe and the President of Colombia gave speeches talking about the close relations between the countries. And so that is what was going on today in Spain. Not a whole ton of events. I mean, obviously there was, this is a big deal. And then tomorrow Queen Letizia does have an event that I am interested to see how it goes. This is something that, like, hasn't been done in the era of COVID, so I'm really curious to see what it looks like in the COVID world that we are living in right now, and that Spain is living in. And then they have not yet released their agenda for next week, so as soon as that is done, I will have a better idea of what things look like. But for now, that is the update from the Spanish royal family. So let's go ahead now and move on to Sweden. Sweden. There are not a whole lot of updates from the Swedish royal family today. However, there were a few events. They just didn't really talk about two of them, like, at all. They're just on the calendar. I expect one will probably get featured tomorrow. But in what they have shared and what was on their calendar, today Queen Silvia delivered research grants for a project, for projects specifically aimed at geriatric research, so even more particularly like memory, kind of the aging process, and cognitive dysfunction that just comes with being elderly, whether that be dementia, Alzheimer's. Not that Alzheimer's is specific to elderly, but it is certainly more prevalent. And these scholarships came out of a foundation from King Gustav V, who I think was king, I don't know. But the foundation was created in 1911, aimed very specifically at elderly research. So Queen Silvia delivered those grants today. She also took part in a meeting with the World Childhood Foundation, as she will typically do at least once a week, once every 2 weeks. There are steering meetings and things along that line for the World Childhood Foundation. And then also today in the evening, I assume Prince Daniel attended a gala focused on entrepreneurship. I'm gonna guess that during the event he gave a speech and took part in I just don't know. They haven't really shared a ton about it yet. I expect them to maybe tomorrow, but so far nothing, which is a bummer, but that's okay. And so with that, that is actually the end of the episode. I know that today was really short, much shorter than normal. There honestly weren't that many events that had a ton of detail on them, and as I just kind of continue to navigate this, we'll see what kind of filler things we want to add in there. I would say this week I've been the best since we've come back, but certainly there is still some room for improvement, so hopefully next week we are back fully in swing. You guys, sometimes I wonder if taking a whole month off is the best choice for me, because it's really hard coming back, just in terms of getting used to everything, plus being sick that first week. Man, I just am struggling along here. I'm like the little engine that could. I'm going, but I'm not going fast. So that is the updates from everybody in the past little while, in the past day. And so with that, I'm going to end the episode. Please make sure to check out thedailyroyal.com, The Daily Royal on Instagram, and like and review this podcast wherever you are listening, as it really helps it out. And I will talk to you all on Monday. I have no idea anymore. Yes, Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye.